Edward Gaming eliminated Loud from Masters Tokyo. This Chinese powerhouse put Loud in their place and showed the world that they're here to dominate. We saw lightning fast rotations and reactions, game-changing 1 in a million collaterals, and insane 8-player brawls. But how did EDG come out on top almost every single time? Well, today we're breaking down just how Edward Gaming pummeled Loud and sent them home. EDG start in a 1-3-1 default. Their plan this round is to go B. So what they're going to do is default into B main, plant someone here, and then head back to C to bait over rotates. Once they make enough noise, they're going to open the door and explode onto B site with their double duelist comp. But Loud are set up to counter this game plan. They're in a 2-2-1 spread and plan on playing retake on A with this nanoswarm that should delay the plant, and this Viper Orb that'll halt the offense if they push in this way. And they're also running a Neon. She's going to be sprinting between sites to make sure that she's always in the right spot to contest the execute with her relay bolts. So which plan is coming out on top? Loud kicks things off with an Omen one way and a Sky Flash to fight for C main control. And Cypher sees all this going on, and he tells his teammates they're taking C main. So EDG start their B main take with a Sky Flash that clears the entrance and behind this box, and a Boombot for some added pressure. Aspas sprints over, anticipating a B hit, and lets Cowansin jump spot C main for information since they've already claimed all this space. And with that, EDG have accomplished part 1 of their game plan. Plant a player outside of B. Part 2 is to drag rotates back to C. So after just showing themselves on B, Sky and Raze meet up with their Cypher, swing into main, and pre-fire the jump peek. After Cowansin spots 2 players, Neon and Omen start the rotate back to C to help Sky fend off a potential push. But EDG don't feel like they've created enough pressure. These 3 players scale up Mound, unleash the Trailblazer, and this mutt tags Neon. Smoggy lobs his paint shells onto Aspas's head and puts him down to 3 HP. Loud's first rotator is now basically useless, and part 2 of EDG's game plan has been accomplished. Drag the rotates back to C. So they begin the final part of their game plan. Hit B. So all 3 Mound players turn around, press the button, and funnel in through the door. Omen smokes Waterfall, paranoias any potential defenders in heaven, and his teammates take this space. But they're faced with another issue. This big green wall. Loud's toxic screen when up is perfect for retake as it allows him to come out of spawn without facing any resistance. Not only that, but it allows Killjoy to hide out in secret and make it really awkward for attackers to take her down. But EDG weren't born yesterday. To counter this, you see them push past the wall and into heaven. If the attackers are able to hold heaven and take secret, the wall is then useless, and then this round should be unlosable with the spike being planted right below them. Meaning that this fight between Raze and Killjoy is big. Who's going to win this close range duel? The Frenzy or the Ghost?
Les actually nearly getting spammed here behind the wall, so perfect read from Smoggy. Still wins out though, Les will fall.
This duel basically decided the round. With secret control, just look at how strong these crossfires are that EDG are able to play in. Now Loud's fallback plan was to flank through Mound and try and pinch the attackers through multiple choke points. Waterfall, Heaven, and B main. But this got countered. Cypher spy cam spotted them early on in their flank, and Loud didn't feel comfortable enough to make this play anymore. So they turn around and head back into spawn. And Tui's knows that it's very possible that EDG could have pushed through and taken Heaven.
Aspas, and keep in mind Aspas was already so low from that C attempt early.
He puts down Kong, but his teammates are headed right into a blender.
And now the... Oh, Suchu! Okay, I thought that was going to be a trade maybe at best, but apparently 2 for him is just fine, and the numbers are just insurmountable.
EDG's pistol strat has worked flawlessly. Last round, Loud set up a powerful mid-trap where once these 2 players took contact, Omen was going to paranoia and they were going to punish. But EDG managed to avoid this play entirely by staying grouped up and running it up A. This round, EDG are in a 2-2-1 default. And their plan is very similar to Pistol. They're going to apply pressure on B and C, and then come back to A and see how the defense has adjusted. But there's one massive problem. Loud have 3 players contesting Rubble, and they have the better loadouts. It's their first full buy round. Can EDG create enough pressure on B and C to break up this strong A-hold? The attackers open the round with Raze swinging into B main behind a Sky Flash and tops it off with her Boombot. Apply pressure on B. Check. Jet and Cypher then take their turn and contact up Mound, place their spy cam to catch anyone trying to come out, and they leave Cypher there to lurk. Apply pressure C. Kinda check. EDG then head back to A, hoping that only one person is holding this cross and that the defense has shifted over to help. But Loud hasn't moved. Viper hasn't had to use any snake bites, and both Killjoy's turret and alarm bot are still up. There's no real reason to rotate yet. But the attackers don't know that. Once EDG are grouped up outside of A, they start their reclear. Omen throws a smoke, Sky uses her Trailblazer, and Omen even paranoias for it. Loud fight back with a smoke of their own. Then Kong dashes out to try and make some space.
Yep. A little bit of stall here. Kang's in. Nice work from Tui's.
But he gets blasted through the smoke. And it's at this point where EDG realized that there are too many people here to fight their way in. Loud's contest was just way too good. But Cypher, who stayed on C, figures, they're creating so much pressure on A, maybe I can find an opening over here. So he peeks out to sight as his teammates rotate over and he breaks Killjoy's turret. Viper is then forced to pop her poison orb, but now EDG are shut out of sight. Now, it's been quiet on A for way too long, so Sky throws out a bird to gather information. It tags no one, and Loud are slowly piecing together the puzzle. The attackers decide to go for the rehit, and as soon as the Omen smoke goes down, Neon sprints off of A to go stack C. If Killjoy and Viper can stall for just a bit longer, their Neon will be here and demolish EDG's execute.
Unless Sadak's snake bite spotted early here, but EDG could have forced their way on.
Yeah, but one's been caught on the cross already. Howdong going down makes it even more difficult as well. Losing out on a little bit of that utility. Can these three make anything happen? Down to 2 Bulldogs, 1 Spectre. Chi-Chu the only one to really draw blood so far. Lovely. That's what Loud needed.
That rotate was insanely fast from Neon, and this toxic screen has bought just enough time for Loud to be here. When this wall is up, it is extremely awkward for attackers to push through, and even if they lost the site, the retake would still be really strong. It allows the defenders to come out of spawn and waterfall, isolate the site players, and then worry about anyone still playing at mound that are trying to play for spam. So combine that with the snakebite and alarm bot still on B, EDG got crushed on this rehit. If Edward Gaming wants to stick to this game plan, they need to fight harder. EDG have figured it out. Because they got shut down at trying to take Rubble control, they want to fight for it. Again. I mean, they have a double duelist comp. If Loud wants to fight, EDG is all about it. Only this time, they're ready. Screw making noise on B, and screw C. There's 4 players ready to fight. And Loud are outnumbered in their 2-3 setup. They're not expecting EDG to fight this hard for this space. So can they fend off these hungry attackers? Loud kick off the round by stunning the walk out of Rubble and cap it off with a one-way smoke. And this relay bolt lands in such a way that you can't swing out of this area safely. Unless you're Omen. He was able to jump out and teleport across. And if you manage to close the gap between Root and Rubble, this gives the defense an entirely new angle to worry about, meaning that one person can't hold this area on their own. Extra defenders are going to have to rotate over to help out, thus weakening the other sites. That's why Rubble is the most important part of this map. It's kind of similar to A lobby on Haven. Now, if you look closely, the defense hasn't considered that Omen could have crossed.
Consider that approach, but well, we have a little bit of a brawl here, yeah.
Yeah, willing to fight for this space now. Karen's lovely work though, just getting slightly behind Howdong. Able to isolate one. The follow-up's gorgeous! EDG!
Now, I don't know if it was too many comms, land sounds, or the utility was too loud. Get it? Because loud. But they didn't hear Omen teleport across. The site is now wide open for EDG, and they take it. This leaves Loud in a 2 versus 4, and the crossfires were just too good to clutch against.
That area as Les drifts through a little early on this. He hasn't been noted just yet. Yes, he has. Just spotted by Howdong. The trade's there. Numbers very favorable to EDG. This is going to need something miraculous, and it ain't going to happen.
EDG have proved that they are here to fight. They are not scared of Loud. Loud just got owned on Rubble, but they aren't going down without a fight either. They're meeting EDG all the way and are bringing over a 4th player of their own. So that means we're about to see an 8-player brawl for this one part of the map. At least that's what it looks like. But EDG aren't backing down either. They have the same 4 players as last time, amped up and ready to go. Both teams desperately want Rubble control, but Loud has a secret weapon up their sleeves. Their Omen is pressed up against this wall in secret, and is going to sprint forward and launch his flash. And in case you didn't know, there is no agent in the game that can run past this near site without getting hit by it. And that's how they open the round. This big blind hits all 4 EDG players, and they even throw a sky flash in for good measure. but the attackers were able to get off some utility of their own. Raze finally lands her paint shells, and Omen smokes the spawn sightline. This combined utility cuts off the defense from one another. Omen also TP'd across to Rubble again, but Loud managed to land a Viper Snakebite to punish this cross. The defense knows that Omen teleported, see his Phantom, and don't feel comfortable fighting Rubble from multiple angles, especially when broken up like this. So every defender retreats and falls back to B site. EDG have won the battle for Rubble. Both teams then trade Trailblazer for Trailblazer. One clears out site, while the other clears out B main. But even with this new information, the defenders still aren't in that great of positions. Because with this Omen smoke from EDG, this forces Loud to rotate through spawn and watch site from heaven rather than just walking through stairs.
The smoke will slow things down. No member of EDG passed the poison orb just yet.
Now EDG are faced with a tough decision. Either wait out the poison orb and head towards A site, or go through secret and pinch B with their Cypher. But it looks like Kong has already made up his mind.
With a shot. Kong potentially, does find it.
He goes down, and EDG have lost a good chunk of their explosive power. To make up for this, Cypher slowly starts moving up B main despite his spy cam and trapwire getting snapped earlier. And with this newfound space, they can split B site from multiple choke points. Now Loud, they have no idea what's going on. EDG have cut noise for such a long time that they are starved for information. I mean, sure, Killjoy is jump spotting C, but that's not enough. Sodic takes a few shots with the main smoke, and Cowanson flashes through, but because EDG are in such passive positions, it doesn't tag anything. So he tells his team, subscribe to Teets for more of these breakdowns. Oh, wait, that's not what he said. He said, what the heck? Where are these guys? So he rips his Seekers, and the gig is up. It's time for another brawl.
Even noting that lurk in place from Chichu.
That's big info, yeah. That's what Chichu's early progress outside B. So it looks like the split might come through here. Spike not committed just yet, though.
Maybe trying to work off the back of that.
Cowanson takes down another player, but his third Seeker went back to B main, so he swings his crosshair back onto the choke point, anticipating a swing for the trade. And now that it's a 5 versus 3, he's trying to get out of the danger zone by hopping back into heaven, and he breaks Cypher's spy cam. But his Omen is already up here, and he's like, hey man, don't get so close. Give me some space.
Team's up to the test. Drawn away for a second, he expects a swing, but he got two.
Thanks to Cypher's camera, Smoggy knew exactly where Sky ran off to. And it just so happened that Omen was literally right behind her. God, talk about unlucky. Because of this miracle play, it's an even 3v3. Sky scurries back into secret, they plant under heaven, and get ready for Loud as they rotate in and group up for the retake.
Yeah, but not much.
Not a great deal, and he's still lingering over towards A, maybe expecting a later presence, but no, we know where all of these EDG players are. So they've taken the first couple of steps, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be spotted on this. Yeah, absolutely noted.
Sky takes down the waterfall player, and they crossfire on the remaining heaven players.
Nobody holding this. Aspas can't make it through cleanly anymore. The options are looking dreary for him. Hard to clear on that far right corner, nobody.
This round was a nightmare for Loud. Not only was it unfortunate, but this also happened at the worst possible time. Look, their credits are in the trash. Because they lost this round, they're going to have to save. EDG start their anti-eco in a 2-1-2 setup. Omen and Sky plan on creating fake pressure on A this time with a fake teleport and a Sky Flash. Raze has a sick off angle in spawn that spots over these boxes and sees anyone trying to push out of B main. Since they have the gun advantage, this is a great position to punish Loud's low buy. Then Cypher and Jet are going to work up C with Jet's attack operator. If you're anticipating that the defense is going to push out, like a lot of teams do on eco rounds, an attack op is the perfect way to punish that playstyle. But Loud are still in a similar 1-1-3 setup. Viper anchors, Killjoy anchors, and these three fight for Rubble control. Loud open the round with a relay bolt, Sky Flash, and both Omen and Neon take aggressive positions. And this time, they heard EDG's teleport, so they check behind the wall and snuff out all of A. Rubble control finally belongs to Loud. And EDG don't seem to care. Go ahead, have it, but we'll be back. Kong and Chichu head up mound and peek their way onto site, but it's been quiet for way too long. Loud's A players are sticking around because they know EDG love to come back and re-clear Rubble. So with this plan and no information, that means Viper is on the weaker site. She preemptively pops her smoke, and this makes EDG feel uneasy. Do they know we're here? Why'd they pop their smoke? So they Sky Flash and find out that at least one person is on site. They back out feeling they've created enough pressure to bait out a rotate, but they leave Jet here. I mean, why not? Loud are on a Nico, and there's a good chance someone eventually peeks out for information. But if her team ever decides to go B, she can join them at the press of a button. But her teammates are headed back to re-clear A, so Loud's read was right. Viper's Poison Orb was enough to make EDG feel like they didn't create enough pressure around the map. So by keeping 3 players around Rubble, they should be able to beat them back. Both teams trade Trailblazers again. Raze invests a Boombot, but Loud Omen paranoia them all back and smoke them off again. And EDG don't want any of that. So they back out and meet up with their Cypher, who's been working his way up B. They sprint over, group up outside, but look at how ready Loud are. They're already gathered up in secret, knowing that EDG love to pivot here late into rounds. But can they hold off against Raze's Showstopper?
A little bit of space towards that B side. Oh, that could be huge. It's not.
They dodge the rocket, but EDG need more space. If they just hold on to B main, and that's it, Loud are going to have an easy time retaking the site. So Kong pushes into Waterfall.
It doesn't actually find any of the targets. They scatter on the other side. Kong getting a little bit more interested.
But his right click doesn't connect, and that's a free op for Loud. So since EDG couldn't take Waterfall, their next decision is to push into Secret. They can't breathe. They need more map control to win this post plant.
And maybe a little too aggressive on this. Zadak's gonna find it. And that would be an operator to hand if they really fancy it. Smoggy gonna try and pick up the challenge. The adjustment on the...
Now, if Loud had better loadouts, I don't know if EDG's plan to push here would have worked so well. Regardless, it was a great decision. But hold your horses, the round's not over yet. EDG know there's still someone in Waterfall, and Killjoy is usually the B or C player. And while all that fighting was going on, Haodong decided to wrap all the way through spawn, A main, and is going for the longest flank ever. Can his 2 side players stay alive long enough for this backstab to work? He smokes off Waterfall since his Sky's Flash just tags someone there, but he falls to Les, who's just swung from heaven. Chichu takes down the Waterfall player, but just a second ago, Les heard Haodong take a few footsteps. Les knows what he's trying to do.
Les expecting Haodong. Oh! Just off on it there.
You guys remember that collateral that EDG landed the previous round? Well, it forced Loud to save this one. And had they had better weapons, this round might have looked a lot more different. At this point, Loud need to take a timeout. Their setup isn't working. They keep losing B site, and against these double duelists, they need to be more proactive. But they aren't? Well, the thing is that coaches can hear all of their team's comms. So this could mean that the coach hears what their players are talking about and feel like it's a good enough adjustment. Thus, it isn't worth the timeout. But they're in the same setup. 1-1-3, fight for A, double anchors. At least that's what it looks like, right? And EDG have 3 people once again wanting to fight for Rubble in their own 1-1-3 setup. Loud start by Omen and Sky flashing and cutting off A main with a smoke, and they take aggressive positions, again. But this time, you see Omen back off and make his way back to Secret. Then Neon and Sky push into their smoke to really fight for A lobby control. By making a bold play like this, you gain more information, give yourself an opportunity to flank, and your defense can more often than not be in the right spots when it's time for the execute. They know that whenever they show heavy A pressure, EDG love to pound it into B. So by having Killjoy and Omen positioned in these 2 spots to fend off any extra map control that EDG like to fight for, this should be a good enough of an adjustment. Plus, with these 2 pushing all the way through A, they can get extra info to make sure the rotates are in the right spots. So I guess they didn't need that timeout. Now, EDG feel all this pressure on A, and like Loud predicted, they're going back into B. Kong contacts up with his operator, but once he doesn't spot anything, Raze and Sky take over to push into Secret. If they can gain this map control, they will have the site.
I don't think it's going to really deny much. Smoggy's already off. He's got the support there, but Tui's lands a great shot. That's going to keep that B side safe. There's the fight we were looking for.
The adjustment worked. Omen was ready for the Secret push, and Neon and Sky managed to punish Cypher for his lurk. Whenever EDG have lost space, he's pushed up to make up for it. But not this time, you rat. This on-the-fly adaptation has put Loud in a 5 versus 3, but nobody tries to find a trade somewhere. Yeah, that's his name. Bear with me. He pushes out, sets off Les's alarm bot, and they trade spam. But because of Les's bullet tracers, he goes down. Loud then Trailblazer to completely clear out A, and he tags Jet all the way in B main. The 2 back out, not wanting to overcommit, and Neon stays to hold the space so Sky can rotate and stack the other 2/3 of the map. But now that the Waterfall player is down, they know Omen's in Secret. Can Kong land the shot?
Great on this cross. But he's been red. Kang almost got body blocked on the way back out. But
he barely misses, but they have the site. Loud rotates over for the retake, and Townsend flashes spawn, recognizing that EDG could be pushed up this far. And Viper's taking her time too. There's a solid chance that EDG could be pushed up in this area. And since they know the attackers are opping, Omen smokes heaven so that Sky can get closer. Neon flips up her fast lane, and this is a nightmare for Kong. Using an op to fight off this retake is going to be hard.
Starting to tick now. We do need to start working in. Oh, gets popped. He's looking for it. Shorty in hand. It's nobody to fight him. Oh, Tui, Salak, great work together. Hold on. How much can you do? Not enough.
Okay, that was a little too close. Some of these kills weren't the most convincing, but Loud's adjustment has worked. Now it's EDG's turn to make the next move. Alright, both teams are changing everything. EDG are in a 3-1-1 default and are fighting for C main control, and so are Loud. If Loud lose this round, they don't have the credits to afford another full buy. And this is the first time Loud are fighting for C main control, and it looks like we're going to have another 6-person brawl. These teams just keep butting heads, and EDG just keep coming out on top. But Loud have picked up Kong's op from last round, so the attackers need to be careful. Aspas is a demon with this thing. Loud start by having their Viper snakebite the run out of A lobby and smoke off root. So it kind of looks like they're fighting for A, but they're not. The offense then spots Neon moving behind Mound with their spy cam, and tries to back them off by flashing around this corner into Mound. Loud hit back with their relay bolt and a sky flash of their own. Then EDG roll up their sleeves and call over the Roman. Alright Loud, if you want to fight, you're going to get one. But the defense have already left the space. Similar to last round, they're predicting that if they show heavy pressure on one part of the map, that EDG are going to respond by taking another. And through the first 7 rounds, most of the time, it was B. So Neon sprints through Waterfall and meets up with her Killjoy to contest a potential reaction from EDG with his op. Then Viper unleashes her Viper's Pit in case EDG want to come back to A. The attackers are trapped, but Kong isn't afraid of this green mist. He walks into it instead.
All gonna come in, but look at Kong trying to fill the space so quickly.
Kong gets the first blood for EDG. By walking into Viper's Pit when it first blooms, like this, you can sort of have a good idea where Viper's at based off of where it stemmed from. And this confident jet has opened up the map for EDG. With Viper going down, Neon and Killjoy leave their turret to hold B and rotate towards A. But the attackers are just chilling. There's no need to push. I mean, look, there's over a minute left in the round, and Loud are the ones who need map control or information. Let them make the mistakes.
Outside C, EDG love posting Kong up to take 1v1s elsewhere.
Does Cowan team want to try and explore this further? Oh dear, that's a dead man walking!
EDG knows that Loud are going to push out to try and make a play, so they just have to let the clock run a little bit and let the defense walk into them. But as soon as they took down Skye, they knew that no one was going to be behind her if she was pushed up this far, and they closed out the round. And Neon couldn't even save her op. Loud's buy next round is going to be rough. Loud have 3 sheriffs, a frenzy, and a stinger, but that doesn't mean they can't win the round or at least do some damage. They're back in their 2-3 setup and plan on fighting A again. Man, these guys just don't give up, do they?
I didn't hear no bell.
And Edward Gaming recognized that Loud have no money, so they're repeating what they did on round 2. Keep everyone grouped up near A, they all fight together, and give Loud 0 chance to pick up rifles. The bell rings, and the fight starts. Loud launch a relay bolt, one-way the entrance, and Neon and Omen slide in and teleport on top of Rubble. But Howdong TP's out too with their paint shells and sky flash. The bloodbath begins.
This is just still, yes, chip damage there, but we need Tuis to go beyond that, and he's not going to.
Again, if Loud had rifles, maybe this round turns out a lot differently. This begs the question, should Loud be sticking 4 people here? Well, I mean, then the rest of their map is vulnerable to a fast hit by this double duelist comp. But is that okay? Could they just be more proactive and push all the way through on flanks? I mean, it's so hard to say for sure, especially when you have rounds like this where the plan worked, but you just didn't have the tools to capitalize. But hey, for having such a weak buy, you can't be too disappointed with the outcome. After the dust settles, Kong dashes forward since why would anyone be on site? They'd just be baiting their teammates who were in that huge fight. Killjoy and Viper have sprinted off C site, and while Viper clears out B to make sure no potential lurks have gone through, Killjoy drops onto site and tries to make a play.
Gap, but the timing's going to be rough. Okay, he's got a little bit of a window to play with. The frenzy, maybe he gets a chance to work.
They don't know he's wrapping them.
Watching this angle. Timing's actually on his side there. Nice attempt on the adjustment, but...
Hey, he'll take that. Viper eventually makes her way to A, and there's a small chance Sadak can pull through for Loud. She's going to pick up a Phantom, the one thing EDG wanted to avoid.
But time is against him.
Does have the poison orb and the snake bite to work with, but doesn't want to give his position
It's
away
guesswork.
just yet, yeah.
High-low. Not going to happen.
Loud finally take a timeout to try and figure things out. Okay guys, our retakes aren't working. What if we just early rotate and make sure they can't get onto sites? I mean, we do have a Neon. She could just run over like zoom, and they'll always run into a stack.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's stop playing retake. It hasn't been working. Let's play on-site and stack based off of early information.
Loud are in another 1-1-3 setup. Looks the same, right? Wrong. Their plan is that they're going to flood on the sites and stop EDG from trying to get the spike down. One of Neon's strengths is that she can rotate between sites extremely quick, so if the retakes aren't working, this is a great adjustment. And EDG want to hit C site, quick. All game, they've taken it slow, have tried manipulating rotations, but not this time. There are 4 players ready to fire it up C and put Loud sight holds to the test, but they start by sending a Sky Flash to pop in B main so that this looks like most other rounds so far. They also Cypher Cam high up again to catch anyone trying to push out towards Mound. It catches Viper, and she dips back into her Poison Orb, and EDG spray to try and punish. Viper scurries back towards site and tries to fix her Poison Orb, but there's no time. She sees the Omen smoke coming in, and this signals that the execute is coming. Omen tries to ult into spawn to make more space, but Killjoy cancels it out. Viper then flips up her wall to try and buy more time, and EDG can't wrap around elbow or even get onto site despite investing their Seekers. This wall and these Killjoy nanos are cooking them, but Jet updrafts past all this utility and is trying to find an opening.
Blades pop, it's less to find Chi-Chu, but he's right there with him. This is his site until Aspas finally.
Kang managed to trade out a Cypher, but Neon slides in just in time. If you look at the map, she flew across to get here and help out her anchors. They went through secret, Sky flashed B main so she can keep going. Okay, she just risks that no one's there. She gets on the C and buys just enough time so that their entire team could be there to clear house. EDG are drowning in this flood from Loud. Great adjustment coming out of the timeout.
Take the space away. A reminder of who this team is. Loud finally turn up to the fight.
EDG are back in their 1-4 setup. After getting rolled on C, they want Rubble this time. And Loud have the read. Since they stomped out EDG on C, they think that the offense is coming back to A this round. Plus, with Killjoy's lockdown, they feel comfortable playing retake on these 2/3 of the map. Alright, here we go again. EDG throws their paint shells, a Sky Flash, and Omen teleports across. But Loud paranoia, stun, launch a snakebite, and 3 of their players get into positions to deny any access out of a lobby. The offense sends out another Sky Flash, and the madness continues.
Oh, it's caught him! Aspas was blinded, had to fall away! Another bit of utility just forcing him back and back and back, but Aspas!
All of this utility has turned this round into a 3 versus 3, and Aspas is completely isolated against Rubble. But he spots Kong as he swings left, and pre-fires him when he swings back right. Aspas has put Loud in the driver's seat up 3-2, and he's still feeling it. He can get out with his fast lane, but he's out for blood. Sadak is running from spawn to try and help out his duelist, but Sky sits down Aspas before the snakebite could land. Then Sadak catches Chi-Chu, but nobody gets another trade. After all that chaos, it's a 1 versus 1, and less could be anywhere. Both teams have been fighting for so long that the possibilities of positions are endless. She could be flanking, rotating through B, spawn, heaven, she could be on A site. Les is freaking out. And to top it all off, whichever team loses this will have a weaker bye next round. I mean, some people have close to 0 credits. Now, there isn't much that happens for a bit. They both kind of just walk around trying to sniff the other out. What Killjoy does though is place her turret so that it watches any spawn pushes from A, her alarm bot has B, and she's watching C. Nobody walks around using his Sky Flash to gather some information, but he can't find anything. And that's okay, because the longer he stalls out this clutch, the more birds he's going to recharge. So with 6 seconds, he finally plants and pulls out his Trailblazer. He clears out drop and decides to head that way, thinking that Les is flanking. But as soon as he turns the corner, he spots Killjoy's head in heaven. After all this time, they finally know where each other is at. Les decides to activate his lockdown, and it is on.
Lockdown. You gotta play this right. Do not. Les! You are mad!
Despite having low credits this round, EDG have decided to invest in an op, but this comes at the cost of Jet having 0 armor. Definitely a glass cannon. And then Omen only has a Guardian. I mean, it's not an ideal buy that you want to close out the half. But don't worry, he's putting this high penetration rifle to good use. They're back to their original game plan and start in a 2-2-1 default. Apply pressure C and B, and then come back to A to re-clear Rubble to try and manipulate rotations before ending B. I mean, EDG have been able to abuse this site thanks to the explosive nature of their comp, and Loud haven't been able to stop it. Once the attackers gain secret control, it's over. But if Loud can somehow manage to hold on to this small rectangle, they'll be able to win the round. And speaking of, they're in another 1-4 setup. Loud want to secure Rubble before worrying about anything else. And that's kind of the nice thing about running a Killjoy. If set up properly, she can stall a majority of the map while her teammates stack or fight another part. Alright, by this time in the video, you should know the routine. Loud opens with a stun, a flash, a smoke, and solid positioning. But Omen knows that Neon paths up this lane in order to get to Rubble as fast as possible. And this spam puts Aspes down to 28 HP. Cowanson heals him up, but Omen almost got the first blood. Heavy penetration weapons on this map are ridiculous. I mean, this map is basically made out of paper mache. If you can get a read on what the enemy team is doing, you have the opportunity to deal massive chip damage on any of these 3 sites. But while Omen is dinking Neon through the wall, his teammates are scaling up B and C like we've seen before. Skye uses her flash to clear out front B main, Cypher camp to spot Mound, and they take all of this free map control. Like I mentioned, their plan is to end B, so they keep Raze there. And Cypher plans on lurking through C for the first time this game. Now with Rubble secured, Aspes rotates through Secret to bolster down B with Killjoy. But now it's time for part 2 of EDG's game plan. Go back and re-clear A. And they're doing it a bit different this time. Every time they've come back to apply pressure on Rubble, the attackers have smoked deeper into A main. But this time, they smoke the cross to the other side of Rubble. This is theoretically less space, but defenders can't contest the retake as easy with this smoke being so close. EDG group up, and this smoke draws Loud closer. They don't want to give up their map control. Without Rubble, their defense is going to be a lot weaker. The attackers release their Trailblazer. It leaps across the one-way, and this tags Skye, who ducked into the Omen smoke. She's stunned, but her Omen trades his paranoia to hold onto the space. EDG understand that this added pressure has to have dragged over another rotate, so they immediately turn around to go back to B. And they're right, Neon left B to help out on A. EDG have created a perfect window to hit the site. Omen smokes Waterfall, Paranoia Secret, and Skye activates her cabbages. 2 of them head to Secret, and both teams recognize just how important this space is. Whoever controls it wins the post plant and then the round.
Forge the trail through towards B, and there's the fair fight, but Smoggy wins this one out, spots out Tui's as well. The Seeker gives him so much space. Flash, yes! The shorty! Oh, the follow-up!
What an absolute overwhelming amount of utility coming out of Smoggy. And Kong saves his duelist friend by the skin of his teeth. In just mere seconds, this game has turned into a 5 versus 2, and these last players don't have a chance. Cypher's lurk eventually comes in, and he backstabs Viper. And then we see EDG playing with their food.
Let's give it a damn good go. It's not gonna happen. How long's that?
Now I know what you're thinking. Loud are arguably one of the best teams in the world. Yeah, they lost the half 4-8, but that doesn't mean that they've lost the game. They're also about to play offense against a double duelist comp. I mean, there's a solid chance they can make a strong comeback, unless something tragic happens. So Loud won the pistol round, and converting this anti-eco should be an easy, but necessary step to closing the gap against EDG. But here's the issue. Their buy this round looks like this. 2 players are staying on pistols, and 3 players are buying Vandals. This can be pretty strong, but risky. If any of the Vandals go down, the pistols can simply pick them up and keep trudging forward. Then on their quote-unquote bonus round, everybody can buy rifles and they have a strong buy. But this strategy requires insanely good fundamentals and discipline. If their spacing is messed up or someone gets cut off from the rest of the pack, there's a very high chance that the enemy team could pick up one of these rifles and spiral out of control. I mean, Loud are a really good team, so this shouldn't be a problem, right? They start in a 3-1-1 setup. Loud want to snag this ultimate orb on C and then head back to A and utilize their Viper lurk smokes. This wall allows Loud to come out of a lobby, drop it, and fight anyone holding the entrance. And not only that, but it cuts off any defenders holding B from comfy positions like Heaven or Secret, and when the wall gets put up, there's a chance that the attackers could walk in. But this doesn't matter. EDG are set up in a 1-2-2 setup, but eventually Raze is going to rotate over towards B and join her Omen and Cypher. These 3 are going to fight in B main. If the attackers go C, they can flip the door open and attempt a pinch with Skye, and then if they go B, there's 3 people there. So are Loud going to get punished by this pinch setup? They start this round with a one-way to prevent anyone swinging out for information, and they walk up. But the defense throw up a Skye flash of their own above Waterfall, and it tells them that people are there. So Raze immediately dips out of A to join her teammates, and Skye gets on C site to get ready for a potential pinch. But Loud aren't committing. Skye grabs her ult orb, sends out another flash for some added pressure, and the attackers sprint over to start the next part of their plan. Go A. Now, the defense haven't heard anything in a while. Skye jump spots C, She sees nothing, and the B players have swung out of main and also don't see anyone. They've figured out the attackers. They're going A. So Loud hurry up the reclear. Sadek flips up his orb, Townsend clears out Rubble with his Prowler, and Tui's had his Paranoia ready to go in case anyone was here. But it is a ghost town. Sadek picks up his orb, smoke spawn, and the attackers are rolling in, and Kong steps up to the plate.
Somewhat safe so far. Kang the only one who's really going to pose a threat, but the Paranoia lands perfectly, spams in, spots out Aspas.
He can't get his, but the rest of EDG are finally here. They're spamming through the smoke and are peppering Loud as they come onto site, and Sky has fully pushed out of C. If Les isn't careful, he's about to get shot in the back.
Right on by him. Asai is...
One of Loud's Vandals has fallen, and Tui's only has a Ghost. This is a 50-50 duel that nobody wants to take. Nobody spots the Vandal, and he takes down Tui's. This well-timed flank has turned this round into a 3 versus 3, and Loud don't have a lot of HP to spare. This Vandal is about to do some serious damage. Like I warned you guys, if you're going to buy like this, you need to have almost flawless decision-making and fundamentals. And EDG punished here. The attackers swing out of stairs, and the fight for sight begins.
Sadek still in his frenzy, and look at the HP! Sadek down low!
Nobody trades his teammate and gets another, but Sadek trades. The comms are coming in, and Smoggy knows Viper only has 18 HP. EDG have managed to win their save round, and from this point forward, they rode the momentum and were able to send Loud packing. I mean, hey, both teams' game plans were solid, but EDG's quick reactions and decision-making were just too good. In Valorant, anyone can beat anybody, and upsets are becoming more and more common, just like in this video right here.